Welcome back to the channel, folks, and to another battle report. This is more Firestorm Arnhem games from the Valley Gaming campaign that's been run just now. Now, Valley Gaming on YouTube, guys, do you follow them? Do you check them out? If not, go over, have a look at the channel, give them a sub. They've got lots and lots of Flames of War games, and these battles are being fought as part of their current campaign. So we have two games for you today. Now, because this is a campaign, not every game is an even match up in terms of points, and there's various other things that can happen in the campaign to affect one side that doesn't affect the other side in good or negative ways. But basically we've got two games of 30 core here fighting on the same table with the same mission against very similar lists. That's just the way it kind of the cards thing kind of fell for this game. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to look at both games and do a comparison between the two because they both have different outcomes. So in both games, Mark is playing 30 core, so he's attacking in both. And Lawrence is defending in the first game with Grenadiers. Tom is defending in the second game with Grenadiers. The lists are similar, but with significant differences, but the terrain's the same. The mission, no retreat, is the same for both. So let's go over and get started with the first game, Lawrence against Mark. So let's have a look at the German deployment area. First of all, the objective placed by Mark is there, German one, on the hill placed by Lawrence. Then Lawrence is protecting the forward objective with 3 minefields and blocking off the outside channel, the far flank channel, with another minefield forcing the attack to squeeze in between the woods and the town. Very constricted. Now Lawrence is using German migration, so careful, confident veteran types, apart from the Firestorm 88s and anti-aircraft platoon. He's got infantry units, standard units that have a heavy machine gun, a Shrek and a Faust added to them, and he's deploying them, you can see there, right on the front objective, and on the far side he's deploying them in front of the objective, so he's got plenty of space to fall back. He's also got some mortars over on the right flank, and 88s behind him. They're Firestorm 88s, so they're aggressive types. A small flak platoon on the far side, they're also aggressive types, and the Wesps. Then in ambush he's got 4 Pak 40s, in reserve 4 Hetzers and 2 Tigers. So it's quite a strong force, well balanced force. So we'll see how it does in the game. And you'll note in this game he's pretty much deploying out in the fields and not in the buildings in the centre.
What we've got is we have a Sherman OP, and then because we've got a campaign game, we've got a battery of sextons which are part of the campaign, and a battery of sextons which are in the main part of the list. Then we have a support platoon of Cromwells, which are also part, not support, but part of formation. American Shermans masquerading as Cromwells and a Challenger. Then we have 2 formations. We have an infantry formation which has HQ and a Kangaroo, 2 platoons in Kangaroos, and 1 platoon dismounted. All the platoons are 7 size, so 5 rifle, mortar,
right.
And yeah. Then we have a tank formation which has squadron HQ of 2 Shermans, 3 troops of 3 Shermans, 2 75s and 1 17 pounder, and we also have a troop of Stuarts, 3 Stuarts in the formation.
Right.
And that is the list.
Right. So 30 core, first turn movement. Mark is dashing as much as possible. He's already getting a little bit broken up because of the terrain. You can see infantry moving into buildings here. Infantry, some of them still in their transports. Infantry waiting at the back in transports. It's pretty tricky for him to get an advance through this terrain. That's the main reason why Lawrence chose not to defend the town. So Mark's shooting is mainly going to be artillery this turn. I don't think there's anything else. He's using 1 battery to range in on these flat guns. Another battery is already ranged in on the infantry on the far objective. Yeah, I think they're just aggressive, those guys.
They're aggressive, so 3's up to 4s. The 88's the yellow dot and the yellow spots. So I missed the two small guns, but I hit your 88.
Possible.
Yes, he's gone.
I'll take it on, what was it, this guy?
That guy and that guy.
I need to get on ahead.
Yep, he's gone.
So a good start for the British artillery. Let's see if that continues. So that's it for shooting. The guys tacticaled up. They're not firing because Mark wants to keep them going to ground because they're scouts. Have we starting step stuff to do?
Yeah. So motivation for these chats.
So rally. Nope. Then the infantry.
Reroll with.
Yeah, they got the HQ. To support them. No, they're not going to be fearless. And then you've got to decide on ambushes before reserves. But there you go, folks. Turn 1, ambush, Pack 40 is coming in.
Result.
No reserves coming in.
Troops as possible.
Right,
So
mortars.
3 is the 4.
Over to there.
So what do I need to buy?
Second roll.
Oh yeah, Pete's dead and alright.
Well, 5 powers.
5 pounds, yes.
So the Piet, the other guy.
No, no. So they survived, they're pinned. And that's a dangerous place to be stuck in. If those mortars, if they can't move forward, they may start taking casualties from the mortars.
Might as well just shoot some Stuarts hopefully if I can.
7s. They're going to ground. So they're careful, which is 4, concealed 5, long range 6, going to ground 7.
These two stop at the edge. These two stop here.
Now the 88s in the far corner there, one's going to go for a kangaroo. The restricted line of sight means the other one's going to have to go for the Stuarts. 6 needed for the kangaroo, 7 needed for the Stuarts. No luck there.
I'll just aim for the Firefly in the middle. Yeah, so 3s to 4s.
So that's where it would be. So it'd be 3 normally because we're still 3.
So we've got 1 Firefly. He's hit. And then 2 Shermans. 1 hit. And then 3 didgeridoos. 2 of them.
So didgeridoos. One's safe, but one can be your. What's your 3? One is through them. They're open topped.
Dead didgeridoo.
Dead didgeridoo. Okay. And then you've got Firefly's yellow spots. So he's okay, and the Firefly is going to be 3. So it's equal. So no,
He's fine.
So do they survive? 2 of them are dead.
A better result from the Wesps there compared to the mortars, because that's 1 kangaroo dead and 2 bases out of a small platoon. Remember, these are short platoons, so that's quite an impact from 1 ton of bombardment.
Shoot the Firefly.
The Pack 40s.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right, so ambush time.
Yep. So they will be 5s.
Well, we have to do one of your attacks. Let's do this. You just machine guns everything.
4, 6, 8. 2.
2. Right. And you want to put one on the Firefly, yeah?
3.
2.
Right. You want to put, I'll try and move it to the Firefly. Which I do. 2 ordinary guys. Yeah. You're what, 12, so this is my 6.
2 to 3. So
So the in
5 power destroy, that's a 5 and a 5. So shooting there, folks, it's really, the artillery did not too bad at all. Got a bail and a kill on a kangaroo. They also got 2 bases infantry, and then the Pack 40s have done their job and probably dealt with this platoon, but that's them exposed now. Mark knows where they are. He's got 2 batteries of artillery, and he'll probably start dealing with them next turn. British turn 2 starting step. The infantry in the platoon hit and the Kangaroos unpins, but the infantry up in the houses under the artillery template, even with the help of the HQ, do not unpin. They need a 5 up to rally, and there is a last stand on that Firefly there, and it fails, so it's legging it. Unfortunately, it would have been good to have kept that anti-tank 15 for a few more turns. Now for British shooting, and once you spring your ambush, your anti-tank guns always become vulnerable to artillery, folks. So this is where Mark is hoping to get some payback. Right, so movement. These guys all made it into the wood. That tank from that platoon didn't. The infantry survivor from that vehicle remounted, and then they moved over to there. They've just lined up a bit there. They've done a blitz, and now it's over to shooting. Mark is turning one battery of sextons to these Pack 40s, ranged in on the second attempt. So these guys are going to need 5s to get a hit, and he gets just the one hit, and oops, a bit of a clash there against the wall. Reroll, it's a save. So they have survived this turn, but they're now ranged in for repeat bombardments. The other sextons ranged in against the 88s and one of the mortars on the far side of the table from me. They managed to hit one of each. The mortar failed its save, and Mark passed his firepower, so one less mortar. But the 88, it passed its save. Now the mortars are pinned, so that might save the infantry that are under that template next turn, but we'll have to wait and see. The Shermans that blitzed on the road are at long range, but they managed to get one hit on the infantry on the road, and the save has failed. The firepower is passed, so good shooting. The Shermans in that wood are going to stay on the ground, but the Cromwells are going to fire at long range against the Pack 40s, needing 6s to hit, so they don't get any hits, believe it or not, folks. What do you do your motivations?
Yeah, so I'll do this lot.
No.
Pack 40s.
No.
88s.
No.
Mortars.
No, but you've got a reroll there for the HQ. No, what a disastrous motivation. Why, the infantry at the front? No, but that... Yeah. That's just ruined it, though. That just ruined the streak.
And then my reserves.
No.
Must be a very quick turn for me.
It could be. This guy's moved over to get out from under the template, so it won't be dug in. Right, German shooting. Trying to range in here to get a load of tanks. Oh, no. 1, a 2, and a 2. Something's gone severely wrong with your dice system. So the Pack 40 is against the wood now.
Him on the end over here, needing a 7. And then the other 2 needing 6.
No hits, but no real surprise with just 4 dice from a pin platoon needing 6s. No. Out again. And line of sight would be really tricky for them there because of the guns.
I'll just shoot Stuarts on the 7.
So a bit of a non-turn for the Germans there, folks. British turn 3 starting step. 1 motivation, rallying the infantry in the building. Now they've got the support of the HQ, but they need a 5 up to rally, and they don't do it. This could start to be a bit of a problem, that 5 up. So British movement's got quite a lot of cross checks going. These 2 made over the hedge, the Firefly didn't. 1 Kangaroo didn't make over, the other ones did. They're keeping back from that tree line. The Firefly stayed put, the other ones have advanced. Mind these, the Cromwells are quite quick. This Firefly's actually a challenger. Oh, the one at the back of the wood is stuck again. That's 3 fails. Right. These infantry have debuffed from this Kangaroo, so there's now a real potential for an assault coming in there. And the HQ are filtering through here. That's the tank HQ. That's the infantry HQ. British shooting is starting with the Cromwells, putting some return fire into those packs, but they're still at long range. They need 6s. They're on the move, only 1 dice each, no hits. The repeat bombardment of the packs needing 4s? No. So that's it.
I'll try this check.
Right, some more visions? No. Yes.
These chaps.
Nope.
Motormen, the reroll.
Yep. And infantry, they're okay, they didn't unpin.
And 3 dice for reserves.
So something's coming in for sure. So, both 2 of your, because you've got Hetzers, Tigers, and those SS Panzer Grenadiers. So, German movement, you can see the reserves are running on. Follow me, right. So they've run on, and now they're going to follow me 4 inches forward. You see the Tigers are coming up the road, staying outside of the range of the 17-pounders. German shooting now, starting with the repeat bombardment. So remember, this is reroll successful saves for Mark. So there was, I think, 4 guys hit altogether, and in the end, 1 rifleman and 1 Piat team were killed.
Tigers first, 2 shots against the chap at the end. He fires for range.
Nope.
Not a sausage.
The 88s fire too, but they have no luck again. They're not exactly knocking tanks out left, right and centre, these 88s, but they are still hanging about. Time for the packs to fire again, see if they can do any damage, but the Firefly is targeted, stuck in the wood and is missed, and then the other guns go for the Cromwells that have moved into that bit of cover and still miss. But you know, they need 6s, but it's a lot of dice are rolling and they're not getting any hits. So now for the Wesps, they're going to try and range in on the infantry in the town. Mark didn't launch an assault with the infantry in the house closest to the pack battery there, so he's maybe missed a chance there. But just being careful because of danger close, but this is where the Wesps are going to fire the next bombardment. So Lawrence ranges in first time, and he's got targets in the forward house, the house over the back of the street where they've been pinned for a while, and also some vehicles in the street. He doesn't get any kills, but he does pin that forward platoon. Now remember, these guys are on a 5+ rally. They don't have line of sight to the HQ, so they're going to have to roll a 5 up to keep moving forward now. So that is a good result, even though there was no casualties caused. Now Lawrence has recognised the danger of that forward platoon, so he's going to give up the protection of gone to ground for both his infantry platoons, the one to the right and left of that building, and he's going to get them all firing in. They're already pinned, so what he's hoping for here is casualties. He doesn't get any, because remember, even though these guys may fail a save, 6 up firepower for small arms when the target is dug in. So that was another turn, folks, where there wasn't a lot of hits, or at least not a lot of successful hits. Motivations.
So, we've got 2 prize tips for these guys.
Right. No, they're determined.
I don't think
You've got to have line of sight anyway.
the guy. No.
I think that's it. Fireflies crossed to join the platoon. The Stuarts, 2 of them are moving out. It's got to get around and pressure objectives. Turn 6 is not too far away, and he can't get unpinned here to keep the infantry moving forward. I reckon those are probably contesting that objective. I think they probably will, in as much as they're within 8 inches to keep the game alive. So this Challenger, looks like a Firefly, but it's a Challenger, has moved successfully out of the wood, and they've moved up within assault distance of 2 bases. Let's see if this one here can make it 4 turns in a row. He's through. Basically, he's probably hit the wood that many times that he's made a hole. The front 2 get through, 1 does. So they're getting a bit strong out there now. Kangaroos are gathering. Getting line of sight here, maybe for a bit of supporting fire. So over to shooting, I think.
Artillery. He's done these guys.
Repeat bombardment. Oh my goodness. Another repeat bombardment. These guys are hit on 3s.
So this chap.
No.
Possible. This one.
No. So they might be their time to go. They're gone. And that's quite handy because those HAs supported by those Tigers is quite a nasty defence. The 75mm Shermans on this flank managed to get 2 hits and 2 failed saves, 1 successful firepower, so one of those valuable bases of infantry has been clobbered. Remember, they're not going to ground this turn, folks, so they are a bit easier to kill. And now for a shot against a Tiger from a Firefly. And the Firefly rolls a 6. Now it's anti-tank 15 against front armour 9, going up to 10 at range, and it doesn't save, so successful firepower follows, 1 dead Tiger. Big disappointment for Lawrence and a big moment perhaps for Mark. With 2 88s and 1 Tiger killed in 1 turn of shooting, this could be the better flank for Mark to approach on if he can move his forces now to it. So Mark's continuing to put every weapon he's got into that platoon, but not with any further success. Now the Cromwell platoon, they are machine gunning the infantry in front of them, hoping to get a pin because they want to go in for assault, and the infantry have a Faust and they have a Shrek. They got 2 hits only though. One of them was on the Shrek, mistaken target didn't work, but the Shrek made it save. The other infantry base failed to save, but 6 up firepower needed and wasn't passed. With the help of the other platoons, the Shermans, the Kangaroos, Mark managed to get enough hits just to get a pin before he launches an assault.
So assault. So.
Right, check, see who can defensive fire.
So not him. Not him.
So we've got a Faust and a Shrek. So the Faust will be a 5 because you're pinned. No. And then that guy there. No, I ain't going to do it.
Just 2 and 1 just for killed him.
Right, so motivation time. Confident, ain't going to do it. So there you go, these guys just pull back towards objective, and then the Cromwells are hiding in the low terrain now because of all those anti-tank guns. So this is German turn 4. Right, so motivations. Got these wonderful anti-tank guns. No.
The Grenadiers.
Yes. So I think it's just a last stand on the Tiger.
He's a 2-up for him. And I've got a lucky card. And the units smoothed out.
Hits have come on here, folks, and these guys have redug in. So they're kind of strung out along here now. So the SS Panzer Grenadiers are moving up. So that's looking quite strong over there. Got some hits to support over here. But, you know, the flank's looking a wee bit hanging in the air, and the Tiger's down to 1. The Tiger's coming across to deal with this side. So tanks on this side, infantry on that side, it looks like. Lawrence is starting firing with the mortars, the repeat bombardment into that building beside the road there. He only manages to get a couple of hits, but 1 failed save results in 1 dead infantryman, so those short infantry platoons are getting whittled down quite quickly. Now the Wesps, they're firing into that street, basically hitting the front house and the back house, and this turn they managed to just get 1 casualty out above, even though it's a repeat bombardment, and they didn't affect the tanks that are also caught under the bombardment in the street.
I'll fire my Shrek.
Oh, so the Shrek's going for glory. He's a 4, yeah, be careful. So that's going to 11, so
11 versus 4, yes.
yeah. 5 up though. No, so just a bale. So that's a bale and one of those Stuarts coming around the flank. Lawrence is continuing to put small arm fire into the house too with the most forward elements of the British infantry, and he actually manages to kill one, which is quite good considering he needed a 6 to pass the firepower.
So this guy will have to shoot over
Him,
here.
because of line of sight. So he's going to be concealed long range 6s.
And then the other ones will be on 5.
Right, let me see. So this is important. Right.
So the 6 was...
Right, on this guy. No.
Really?
And shooting this platoon, 6 dice.
I'm going to say, but it's going to have bad luck, old boy.
There's been some really terrible dice rolling in this game, folks. Going to target the challenger?
Yeah, let's shoot him. So, yeah.
Well, check your range actually, first of all. 6, well, you've got choices here. You can go for them at shot or him on a 6.
I'll just go for the challenge.
Right. Oh, straight through. He'll do it. Of course, couldn't have you actually kill anything.
Into turn 5 then.
Right, motivations.
Motivations. So this guy,
He's back in.
these guys,
Right,
2 chances to try and
see if they'll actually manage it. And they do. And then front platoon?
And front platoon, which is the way to back. You've seen them, but anyway,
No.
no, because they need a 5 to run.
Remake the
Remount?
challenger.
Be a 3+. Yeah,
That'll do it.
in that.
Right, so British movement. This Sherman platoon is moving up here. These guys are staying put with the exception of opening up line of sight for the challenger. These have moved out to shoot into here. These guys can't move. Nothing from these yet. You can see the Stuarts, one has got over the hedge to join the other ones, and 2 Shermans have made it over that hedge. So 2 Stuarts that were over the hedge are just lining up for an assault. Now Mark is piling as much fire as he can into that platoon on the forward objective there by the fields. Lots and lots of hits coming from lots of different tanks and infantry from the houses, but ultimately there is only one failed save with a successful firepower, so they're taking a lot of beating, but that infantry platoon are still pretty strong. Mark's ranging in his sextons on that very busy part of the road there. He's got mortars, infantry, Panzer Grenadiers and the Pack 40 under the template. He gets quite a few pins out of it, but in the end he only gets 1 kill. But it is a Pack 40, so at least as one of them finally bit the dust. Now Mark's machine gunning the packs from vehicles beside the tree line. Gets 1 hit, but it's a successful save.
For your gun,
So this other battery is just going to keep trying to get that gun, and it's missed that again. I think you've probably missed about 7 dice against those guns.
so he's going to shoot at their tiger.
Nope, Fireflies missed.
These guys, these 2, will shoot at your.
That tank was right.
So you're going to be 5. One of them moves.
The rest of that Cromwell platoon. Yeah.
This guy down here. So these guys shooting at your guns there.
Ooh, 2 hits. Oh, 2 1s, not good. 2 1s. I might have guessed, to be honest, in this game.
This guy here's going to shoot at this little boy.
Right.
Pretty hard to hit.
He's going to ground. Yeah.
But he's also aggressive.
So I think it'd be 3.
5s. 1. And a 2, no, another failed save and a pass firepower. Yeah. So straight firepower.
He's dead.
1 dead guys.
And this guy will have a pop action OP. Who will be a
4.
4.
Straight firepower.
Is he dead OP?
Yeah. The West are going to have to come out now. Just roll up and start blasting stuff.
We can do our assault. Guys in range.
Right, so you got Shrek. Misses. So you can clobber him. So he's a goner. You do. So the Shrek's going to move in. Hits. So I don't think you're going to stop that because it goes on your side. It's high attack 11.
No. He's
Bailed.
This could be where it comes a bit more nasty though.
And then motivating.
Okay, probably going to be 5.
It's not a 2 anyway, so break off outside 6. You can capture that and then consolidate back to your foxhole. They tried to blitz. They've only trained, but they're all the one anyway, to try and get hull down here, but they never made it. SS Panzer Grenadiers are moving up now. A couple of them are in bulletproof cover, and the rest are coming along behind. So still some of them under the template. So Lawrence's mortars are still hurting the platoon in that building stretched along the back end of the town there. That's another base away. So they're getting whittled right down. The 2 Wesps are going to do a repeat bombardment on the front end of the town. They have to reroll successful hits. They do force a few saves, but there's no successful kills. Okay, 6 dice. Let's see if the Pack 40s actually hit something. Hit something this time. Right, so you can still potentially mistake target onto somebody over here though.
Yes, I can. So, yes, I will. I'm mistaken. What if I get off my side?
No. Right. So, these are all taking a hit. 6 against 12.
Be the Firefly?
No.
Firefly.
It's bailed,
Guy in the middle.
dead, and bailed. So bailed, dead, bailed. So you've hit him. So you just want to keep on him. So firepower. So he's away. Still not ready. So you could put 2 of them in, 1 up and then 1 behind them, like that. And then you can defensive fire with the guy at the window. Snipe him on the way in. Right, 3 up save. Yep. So you can clobber him twice. What do you hit on? SS tend to be a bit aggressive.
He's dead.
So you can now motivate.
No.
Oh no, you're okay. It's just your rally, which is a 5. Yep. So just pick both them in, you'll be fine. Does he hit on a normal?
No, he's got a light motor, so he's going to be hitting on a 4+.
So a 3 and a 4.
The green dice is 3.
Right, you got to motivate to stay in the fight though. And you do, so you can hit back twice. And you do. Right, so you can consolidate now.
Does his tanks not have to move 6 inches?
They do, yeah. So Lawrence has launched a very successful assault here to get the platoon of infantry that is contesting the objective, as in within 8 inches of the objective, and keeping the game live. So that's the start of his counter-attack. Right, Mark, so motivations.
Motivations. Okay. These guys to
rally.
So
You got too many cat's eyes. Remount.
Yep, 3 up.
He's fine, so that keeps them in good spirits.
Yep.
And this is turn...
This is turn 6 now.
Right, so, movement. You can see the Stuarts coming up. Try and get around this flank. Stay within 8 of that objective. The Shermans are moving up to support. HQ's moving onto the road. Want to get some cover and fire down there. This platoon's moving around the flank again. There's lots of juicy targets. I think the Firefly's probably going to stay put in, or the Challenger, stay put and shoot. We'll see what happens with the rest of that platoon. Kangaroos are moving over. Taking advantage of cover because there's still too many anti-tank guns kicking about over here. Let's see if they get killed by artillery this time. British shooting starting with the artillery. So Mark wants to get these guys in this house that are counter-attacking against him. And he manages to kill 1 inside the house and 2 at the back of the house. So that's quite a good shooting, and that's really sort of gutted that SS platoon and reduced the chance of them counter-attacking much more. The other Sexton battery is going to range in so it can catch one of the guns and quite a few of the infantry, but it only ends up, it ranges in okay, but it only ends up with 1 potential kill on an infantry base, and it failed the firepower. The Cromwell platoon, well, the Challenger fired at the Tiger again and missed again, and the other one shot up infantry, but they got on the ground, hit on 6s, so no hits there. The Sherman platoon, both shots hit the Wesps, so straight to fire power on both, and there is a kill and a bail. Now there was a bucket load of shooting got done on the other side of the table here, on the objective in the fields, against both the Grenadiers, that's the careful guys, and the aggressive SS that are coming up through that house, but no successful hits. They were either misses or failed firepowers for any failed saves. Now it's important to notice for the defenders' victory conditions here that the only attacking teams within 8 inches of any objective, it's the one in the field here, are 2 Stuarts.
Grenadiers.
Right, start step 3 up for the SS Grenadiers to do. Your ordinary Grenadiers.
With a reroll.
Yep.
Those Grenadiers. That chap back in. He's back in.
And if he's last standing, he's staying.
He's going to shoot back in.
This guy.
Last stand.
Well, 4, that's he's unpinning, and that's not going to do it. And then last stand, that is going to do it. So he's sticking around, but he's not doing much.
So what have you got with an 8?
So, turn 6, German turn 6. Lawrence is going to turn every gun to those 2 Stuarts over there. He is moved these, if they move to get line of sight. He stayed put, 2 have stayed put, 2 have moved. And he's moving his infantry around a bit as well for the purposes of assaults and everything. Okay, so starting off with his...
2 men and a mortar.
Starting with his artillery.
And then 2 riflemen.
The mortarman.
Let's see if this mortarman can go the whole game under a bombardment.
Potentially.
Oh no, he never made it.
And then
1 other guy.
the last guy. Oh, the other guy.
He's okay. It can still...
He's just going to shoot him.
Oh right, he's going to go for revenge. Right, direct fire.
Yeah, he's going to shoot at the Firefly.
And he misses. Fluffed his lines.
Both of them need to be dead and he's out of range. Okay. I'll shoot the infantry and the Shrek first. The Shrek didn't move. So he's hitting on a 4.
Yeah. Right, and then the Shrek's on a 5. Right, so you can choose whichever one you want to hit. You're close enough. Lawrence? Which one have you hit with the Shrek? You can't shift it.
This guy.
Right, so straight firepower. Build.
So these, so 2, 4, 5, 6.
Yep, 6 for the hit, so I was looking for 6s. Oh, aye.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah. 7s. One. So you want me to stick to target?
Yes, we'll stick to target.
And you do. So see, let me think now. You're 11, you'll go up to 5 for range, so you can get a potential bail. Nearly. So the bail one is now kaput. Next.
So the tiger will shoot the one.
Did you last stand for the tiger this time? No.
Oh yeah, last time.
Is that right? Right, 2 dice then. No.
And then 3 shots. See, long range.
One is at short and 2 are at long.
So
one
one
on
on
a
a
4.
5.
5.
That'll do it.
And then 2 on the 6s.
Right, so that's 12. So that'll go straight firepower. It's dead. So we don't have to worry about assaults or anything. That is it. So there you go, folks. A win for the defence. It was a weird game in as much as it took so many shots for anything to get killed, and ultimately there was still absolutely tons on the table at the end of the game, and it was just a sort of victory conditions type win rather than anything close to an attritional win. But there was very clear reasons for that, and we're going to look at the next game and see how that pans out, and then see if we can learn anything from how a defender and attacker might set up in the mission No Retreat. So let's have a look at the next game with Tom defending this time, using a very similar list in terms of the infantry but different in terms of the armoured reserves. Start again.
Right, okay, so the Stugs are in reserve. I've deployed 6 mortars, got 2 88s, I've got a Grenadier unit with a Panzerschreck, Panzerfaust and a HMG. I've got my HQ stand here and here.
What rating are they?
Oh, these are all here, so
Right,
careful,
so careful
veteran.
company vets.
Another Grenadier platoon, exactly the same loadout over here. This is a bridge Firestorm unit,
Right.
so that's aggressive, reluctant trained, and these are also a bridge unit of aggressive, reluctant trained with 2 centimetre. And then in ambush, I've got 4 Pack 40s.
Okay. Let's see, minefield blocking the road, and a line of minefields with one objective there, one objective there.
Okay. The British force hasn't actually changed, so we've got a troop of 3 comets and
Cromwell's.
Cromwell's rather, and a masquerading challenger. We've got a battery of sextants. We have 1, 2, 3 troops of Shermans, one each. Each one has a single firefly in it. Company HQ for the Squadron HQ, 2 Shermans. We have a Sherman OP, and we have another battery of sextants. One of the batteries of sextants are part of the Firestorm, as is this for the campaign. We have a troop of 3 Stuarts, and we have 3 platoons, all the same size, of 5 infantry, a mortar and a pier, with 2 of the platoons and the company HQ being in ram kangaroos. And that SS.
Right, so it's no retreat again, folks. Deja vu, here we go. For this game, I'm really just going to be summarising things, maybe with a bit more focus on movement, because that's important. That's the thing that gets your assets where they need to start rolling dice. So I'm just going to be doing that. Now, you can see here the British moving up, and one thing to note straight away is a large gap on this near flank. In terms of shooting, the artillery ranged into the objective on the near side here, beside the town. On the far side they didn't range in at all, but the artillery didn't cause any casualties. Got a pin on the near side, no casualties, and then all these other tanks that had line of sight on the platoon defending the town, they all fired but didn't get any successful hits. So a rather uneventful initial turn of shooting by the Brits, but remember the Germans have still pretty much got their heads down just now. German turn 2, Tom is keeping his ambush up his sleeve, waiting for a more advantageous position to catch the British hammer in the open perhaps, and he doesn't get any reserves. These Grenadiers are moving up. One's gone up into a building here, the other one's heavy machine gun moved over. It's got a tighter unit, and the rest are just gathering up because they probably need to be there for defensive shot. So Tom's turn 1 shooting, the 88s on the hill are going to put 4 shots into the wood and miss. Not so good. And the 88 on the near side, Tom's decided to keep that gone to ground, hoping that it will prove to be a block and force those tanks to stay put and shoot and use up some time to kill it. The remaining shooting for Tom is going to be his artillery, seeing around the side of the tall terrain and dropping artillery into the poor infantry that are moving on foot. It's always the case, infantry on foot, not in armoured vehicles, total magnet for artillery. Here they manage to survive okay, they get several hits, but they all save, but you know that's artillery ranged in there now, so if they can't keep moving forward they're going to be in trouble. Right, Mark, have you just one motivation to do?
Just got one motivation, which is in 6 inches of the HQ. So
they are fine. Oh no, they've got this 5-up rally that's going to absolutely haunt you again, I think. So British movement, the infantry have got themselves back in the bulletproof cover, and the armoured guys and the kangaroos have moved up. Fireflies now in the woods. Tanks are gathering together a bit there. And I think the rest are going to stay put and shoot on this side. So you can see that whilst Mark has been blocked in terms of pushing through the centre, through all the terrain, he's got a large force building up. He's spotted the open flank and the vulnerability it represents. Now over to some shooting. So the shooting for the British, the 88s in the hill got ranged in this time. They did not get hit, but
machine guns from here.
It's starting to become clear this is where Mark's main focus is going to be.
Morale. Rallies and Grenadiers? No. The HQ? Yes. That's it for morale, isn't it? Reserves? One comes on.
Ambush.
Oh, ambush. Oh. I'm not doing it.
Right, so just on the reserves then, yeah? So German movement is these Stoogs coming on to protect this flank. Makes sense for them to be there to oppose the Shermans up the far end of the table, and I think Tom is waiting for those Shermans to move forward so he can catch them in the open with his ambush. German turn to shooting. Well, there's a repeat bombardment against infantry who've pulled back into the church a bit, and a couple of bases got killed. Now remember, these are short platoons, so they're going to feel that really. And then the only other shooting was the 88s firing into the wood on the far side where there's some Shermans, but they didn't get any hits once again, folks. So they've survived the bombardment, but they've so far not managed to hit anything.
What I got is one of these guys.
Turn 3 starting step for the Brits, so they're just getting worse and worse and worse. Not much you can do with that. So turn 3 movement.
Yeah.
lots of cross-checks getting done, one unsuccessful. These have moved out from in here, they've backed off a little bit. These kangaroos, one failed, but the rest moved up to there. You can see the Stuarts have just gone in behind that wood. So there's a bit of a push on this objective, I would say. Mark started his shooting with a smoke bombardment. Now that he's moved out of the cover with his Shermans, he knows he needs some protection, or at least maybe even just delay the ambush that's bound to be coming in the next turn. The rest of Mark's shooting is a repeat bombardment on the hill there. Once again, though, the 88s get off scot-free. Mark's artillery is having problems today killing anti-tank guns, it seems. And then the rest of the shooting is in the town, where there's an absolute bucket load of vehicles lining up to shoot those infantry. But they're going to ground, they're careful, so there's nothing significant happens in terms of shooting. The most significant thing that's happened so far is the push that Mark's got on that near flank and the concentration of force he's got there. He's got his tanks up. If he can get his infantry up, he's going to have a strong force to push on the objective, which isn't that far away. And remember, at the moment, Tom's infantry are more or less in front of that objective in the town, not on the objective. Right. German turn 3 starts now.
Turn 3. So, 1 reserve.
Right, what about motivations, ambushes?
Alright. Ambushes.
Motivations, let's do your motivations.
No ambushes. Motivations.
Yep, they're fine.
Oh.
I think that's it, isn't it? I didn't mention at the start, by the way, this is part of a campaign. So there's campaign units and campaign effects that can take place. And Tom's list is at a penalty for motivation in this game. He has to re-roll all successful motivations. For German movement, these Stugs are going to stay on the ground. These are going to move up. That's the reserves that have just come on. The infantry in the town are staying put because they're right in the middle of a hornet's nest just now. There's some dig-in rolls here that some work, some don't, but they're for individual bases who are being forced to move. German turn 3 shooting, so the Stugs are having to go at some kangaroos behind the tree line, but don't get any hits. So the 88s are going to add their fire to it. 4 dice gets 1 hit, and that's going to go straight through the armour, but it's going to result in just a bail because of a failed firepower. The German mortars repeat bombardment on the British infantry in the church, and they get another single kill. But that's whittling down that unarmoured platoon pretty effectively. British turn 4 motivation. The Belgian kangaroo doesn't get back in, but the infantry in the church, with the help of the HQ nearby, they get the 5 up that they need to rally. So British turn 4 movement, you can see the tanks are all piling in over here. Fail cross-check, fail cross-check, fail cross-check, fail cross-check. That means there's 2 tanks, 2 platoons of just 2 Shermans because they've been left behind up there. And that's the HQ actually. Those ones are there and there. More cross-checks, they're all looking fine. So it's like everybody getting by that field. So the rallied infantry are moving from the church over into these buildings here. All the kangaroos are together now. Did the infantry come out of them into here? Right, so that's those kangaroos infantry, and then you see the Stuarts have moved up behind there to support them. So you can see there's a lot of infantry close to each other now. So British shooting. The 88s under that repeat bombardment again, they should be in trouble, but they've still managed to survive. So those 2 88s are still king of the castle up there. The other battery of sextons is ranged in on the Stugs and the mortars, you can see in the bottom left corner there. They get hit on both platoons, but no failed saves, but 1 pin platoon of mortars now. The rest of the German shooting was really piling massive amounts of shots into the crossroads area in the town there, or the T-junction I should say. However, there was also 2 very good 6s rolled for Fireflies against those Stugs that are coming on from reserves, and ended up in killing 2 off that platoon of 3, so that's a very good result for Mark and a sore one for Tom. But the infantry up at the T-junction, they're still intact, heavily pinned, but they didn't take any casualties despite the number of shots fired in against them. Tom has now got the ambush opportunity he's been waiting on. He's just got to get things placed correctly for concealment, line of sight, for not just the guns themselves but the Stoogs firing from behind. Motivations and things, you've got to do your motivations.
Right. Last stand for this man.
Yeah, he made it.
Reserve comes on because it's the only reserve I've got left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's it really, yeah. Did they take a hit?
They did.
There was a failed firepower on it.
Yeah, you failed to kill me, didn't you? So they're still pinned.
They're pinned.
Oh no. Oh shit. I've done that the wrong way around. But one failed, one. I'll do it again because I've got one. No, sorry. And I haven't done that. They're not pinned.
Mental situation.
And the mortars. So they.
And what was unpinned too. Ambush, as you can see, and then Stoogs 2 stay put, 1 moving. The HQs come over to join them. The survivor from that platoon's come over to join them. So there's lots of fire going up this flank over here. So German shooting is starting with the mortars doing a bombardment in the top part of the town near the church there. There's a lot of infantry around, there's a lot of hits too. But I think there might have been one failed save, but a failed firepower, so another pin, though no casualties. Now for some critical anti-tank fire. Stoogs starting, getting these guys in the open at long range, looking for 5s, and well, there you go, folks, says it all. Company commander adds his shot in, not getting any better. So the Pack 40s need to make up for that, and they managed to get 4 hits. Could have been better, but could have been worse, I suppose, judging on what the Stoogs managed. So 1 save each on the Cromwell platoon, and it results in 1 dead and 3 bailed. So I think Mark came out better from that ambush than Tom did.
1 dead and 3 bailed.
Yeah.
I know the feeling of that.
Underwhelming ambush turn, but you know, these guys have still got to get back in, and they've still got to hit back, and they've got to fail their save and so on, so those guns might survive for some more shooting.
I thought they told his armour was thick.
So Tom's now using a Faust and a Shrek in the nearby buildings to try and get hits on the Shermans there, but once again, not a very good dice roll, and it's been a theme of the day, to be honest, and it's been a bit of an underwhelming turn, a turn in which you could have really put a big hole in Mark's advance, but Mark has been able to weather it. And on the other side, the 88's on top of the hill, the king of the castle's there, they're fired again, but they've missed again, you know, so they're staying alive, but so far they haven't actually done anything.
Remount is 3+. So we'll do the first 3, see the remount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll do 1 colour different for
Yeah,
for him.
the challenger.
And the challenger gets in, but the other 2 don't on the first attempt. Mm-hmm. And then second attempt with the.
Come on, dice gods, please.
One gets
I'll
back
take
in.
that.
I'll say that key guy gets back in. All right.
Okay.
Remount on a kangaroo.
Kangaroo, which is on a 5.
5, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
And the infantry?
And the infantry, they've still got the shield back there.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Is that it for motivations?
Yeah, that's it for yeah.
Is this just the top?
The Shermans that were stuck on the hedge have now moved up a bit. The HQ's blitzed to get a bit further up, otherwise staying put to do the shooting.
It's been the most aggressive unit, as per.
It's just moving around there.
Ricky, mate.
The German turn 5 shooting is starting with artillery, both arranging in on the road there, you can see beside the packs. Now the first battery ranges in, the second doesn't, and the first battery manages to pin both units and also kill one of the Pack 40s. Now for the rest of the shooting. First of all, one of the packs has been killed. Only one out of all the shooting, but that's him down in this turn to 2 guns, so that's good for Mark, bad for Tom. And then in the town, there's a bit of a pincer going on. There's shooting coming from the tree line area and also from the area beside the field, so it's left and right. And they're absolutely hammering the infantry in there. But this is in the main machine gun fire, so it's not having a great deal of effect other than pinning. The Stuarts had to go at the mortar platoon in front of them, but missed. And those 88s, the King of the Castles on the hill there, more shots coming in at them, but they're still surviving, folks. They just will not die.
Yep.
Right, turn 5 Germans.
Right. Raleigh,
Oh.
he does.
Or
That's
88s.
because of the
Raleigh.
commander. Last stand, he sticks around. Again, that's because of the commander.
Right. Oof.
And the mortars. No, they're definitely not.
So mortars staying pinned, but they've got themselves back in the game. He's not run away. And 88s.
Last stand over here.
Oh, yes.
And the 88s are firing on all cylinders. He's just getting in the way. Now they go, oh, I can see clearly now that the anti-aircraft's gone.
If he stuck around, like,
So not much movement, folks, just a blitz to get line of sight up there. So straight onto this Mexican standoff shooting then. Tom started his shooting with some tank hunting using a couple of infantry teams with Faust, and he managed to get a hit and a bale on one of those Stuarts. So the 88s don't like these Stuarts roaming around in front of them. They managed to get a couple of hits. One goes on a bailed one, and that ends up with the bailed one dead and another one dead.
hey, they've killed something. Only took them 5 rounds.
They're still alive after 5 rounds, so it's a bit of a miracle.
I mean, the fact
On to the Stoogs shooting again. Remember how disappointing they were before? Well, they're consistent. They aren't even 60s to hit, so they shouldn't be expecting a lot of hits, but they only got 1 hit. Mark put it on using mistaken target to a bale tank. It ended up as a double bale, and Mark passed his remount, so no kills. So can the Pack 40s do the job? Shooting at the Cromwells? No.
Turn 6.
Right,
So,
motivations.
motivation. So we've got the guy to get back in his
yeah.
half track over there.
Oh, the kangaroo, yep.
And he doesn't. They are going to ground, so they're not doing anything. They're okay.
He needs a last stand.
He needs to get pinned first.
He does.
But he's in 6 of the CO. So it's okay. And he gets back in.
Those Cromwell seem to be surviving well.
Those guys over there need to be.
I think it's a 5, isn't it?
That'll do it.
I think the 5.
So that's it for motivations. This platoon, Cunliffe 2's moved out of the field. Now, we did cross-checks before entering the field, but if you check the terrain table, guys, offences doesn't require a cross-check. Just check the rulebook under the terrain table, so they can easily move out of that field without any worry about terrain. The other wee platoon failed a blitz, however. British turned 6 shooting, and Mark started with his artillery. He rearranged in on the packs to get two of the survivors, hit both, but they both saved. And then the 88s arranged in on them, hit one, failed its save, but then Mark failed his firepower, so those King of the Castles just don't want to die. Shooting at the Stoogs and anti-tank guns didn't go great, but they did at least kill one of the Stoogs. That's the survivor of the platoon further over on the left there. It's already lost 2, so that platoon's gone, but the anti-tank guns still surviving. Fire has continued to pour into that little L-shaped group of buildings by the T-junction there, from infantry, from kangaroos, from Shermans, but it's mostly MG fire. You need a 6-up firepower for failed saves. It's not really having an effect. Danger close would prohibit artillery here, but this is the kind of situation where artillery or flamethrowers is really what's needed. And the King of the Castle 88 survive another hit, this time coming from the Shermans.
Go, boys.
No. Do I counter attack? I think I need a 6.
That would do it.
Right, do I hit you? I think I need a 5 or a 6. That doesn't hit me. Do you counter attack?
So I might just have to do something equally horrendous.
I think it's 5.
5 plus. Oh! It was a 5, it was a 5! No.
This is the most pathetic fucking
So that Stuart assaulted, fluffed and then ran away. Would you believe it? Motivations. Not 5, so they've unpinned.
The mortars. Nope. The infantry. Nope. The guns. Yes. A little bit. I think that's it.
Right, on to movement, folks. One infantry base is moved from here to here, so there's 2 bases within 4 of the objective.
I can hit you back. Alright. That's it. That's my movement. 1 base.
He's come over to do a
I've got
feist.
2 bases. So, the company commander in his almighty fury misses.
So much for that.
The 88 is going to shoot him. This 88 is going to shoot back at your Shermans.
Okay.
So 88 here. 1 hit. He kills him. Well, that'll put the end of the charging light brigade. The other 88
Into the woods. 1 hit.
hits. I'll aim for the Firefly. I kill the Firefly, but
Try mistake target on it.
Yep.
So a Sherman in the wood is kaput.
1 up to the 88s.
That are still there. I think they've had 3 failed firepowers to kill on them.
Stugs. Right, so I'll do the 3. Roll at long range conceal.
Who are you shooting at?
Cromwell's.
Oh!
Yes, lads.
Right.
More of that.
1 each.
Yeah.
So this dice will be the challenger.
That's from 7, isn't it? Oh, is that the Cromwell? No, that's the Cromwell.
That's a comment.
Sorry.
I
Yeah.
just-
6. The challenger is 6 as well. So they've got 7s for long range. Yeah. So
11.
so here's against 11.
Yep.
So 7.
1's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. 1 of each. One bail,
bail.
1 kill, 1 ignored.
Right.
But that was the 5 line.
Yeah.
So,
So against the guy you can bail.
okay, bail, kill.
So 1 bail, 1 kill.
The company commander will try polish off the Firefly. Move on. The pack 40s will shoot this motley crew.
Well, I'd suggest that one there's in the open,
Yep.
Yeah.
but that one be
Okay.
concealed.
So the one in the open, the one that's not. So 1 of each.
Okay.
Now-
You're too close, aren't you, to shift?
Yeah, it is actually. It's within 8 inches, so no mistaken target.
So it's 6s versus 12s, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that dice can be the other dice can be for
Okay. Will you
So,
stop doing
bail.
that? Right, bail.
Bail?
No.
No.
Kill. Yes.
Okay.
So it's that. Ah. No. Oh, Jesus. This is painful. Right. I'm already pinned, so I might as well fire my Shreks and stuff. So the guy that stood still, fire his Faust that way, and then the Shrek I'll do at that Firefly.
this one here.
Yeah. So Faust,
Nope.
Shrek. Tomatoes, lettuce, fag ends. I hate shooting bulletproof into bulletproof, but I'm going to do it. So I'll fire all my infantry, small arms into those guys. So I got 2, 1, and 1. For 3.
3 hits. They're all riflemen in there, so
Yeah.
3 6.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, okay, scooting and shooting.
Whilst Tom is repositioning his Stoogs a little bit, the important thing to note from the shooting in that turn was that Sherman within 4 inches of the objective is still alive and still active. So that sets up victory, possibly, next turn. British turn 6 motivations. There was nothing really good, but nothing really bad either. Opportunities to remount were failed, but last stands as required were passed.
Nobody else going to be able to do anything that's dramatic.
So folks, it's going to be all about killing these infantry. So they're just going to stay put. They've moved up to be able to shoot and launch an assault.
See if we can look at your guns just in case. Alright? Over there.
Yep.
2 guns. We missed the gun.
One thing to note here, Tom's infantry are largely on the upper level so that they can avoid any concealing terrain for anything that they're targeting, but it also means that Mark can stack his vehicles up behind each other and still shoot upwards at the infantry on a higher level. So it's got advantages and disadvantages being high up. Sometimes it might be better to go downstairs. So there was a bit of shooting here, folks, but it's not really important. A Pack 40 got killed, maybe something else got killed, but basically the infantry are pinned intact and taking an assault from the Kangaroo infantry now. And the infantry managed to get in because they're only taking defensive fire from one side of that building, and we're now into the assault that could win the game.
I've got one.
I think you can still manage to it's about 2 on each there if everyone has 2.
So I've got 2, 4, 6. Okay, but you're killing them with riflemen. So the 2 guys here are basically 3s, aren't they?
Yeah, 3s.
So he's dead.
Yeah.
Then the rifleman, which is the green guys, and the only one against your guy there. So he's dead. Mm-hmm. And then your rifleman and the green guy against your Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
He might be.
Yeah. I think he just goes to a 4.
They're telling us,
do I
get out.
I do actually counter-attack, so you have to try.
Right, so you can clobber.
So you need to see if you break off. Because I can't move.
Is he dead?
He's dead.
Ah, right, okay, so you've got to pass a motivation.
I've got pass motivation.
Yeah.
Which it does.
Yeah, and I'll just say it's dead.
Right, of course.
Because you've got how many attacks? 4 or something.
And that'll do it, because he's not within 4. And they is within 4, and they can consolidate, so that'll be that then.
Yeah.
So just right at the death.
Yeah.
Squire.
Well done. Well done.
That was nippy tucky.
Yeah.
Right folks, there you go. 1 win for the Germans, 1 win for the British, and the same table, same mission, roughly the same kind of lists. So what are my thoughts on that game? Why did one game result in a win for the defence, one in a win for the attack? Now there could be lots of little things here and there, you know, significant turns and so on, that could have affected the outcome and turned it one way or the other. But for me, the main difference between the 2 games, the difference in Lawrence getting the win and then Tom being defeated, was the placement of the minefields. Mark commented on that himself after the game, you know, like he noticed the difference. You know, he thought, why did I win against the minefields here and lose against the minefields there? Well, to my mind, it was all about the minefields and the fact that Lawrence used them to better effect to block the approach through the town. The Germans had no choice but to attack the Germans. The British had no choice but to attack through the town because of the way the campaign was being played. They were charging up from the bridge behind the town. And Lawrence placed his minefield so that one side, the open side, the side that was like a bit like a channel because it was hidden from the rest of the table by the town, Lawrence chose to block that off, and there was only a very small area that tanks could feed through. And then on the other side of the table he blocked off one side of the wood, which left only a small area between the wood and the tree line where tanks could freely move through, and they were moving through into dead ground really. You know, there was nothing important right there. It was the objective was far back on the hill. Now in Tom's game, he left the channel beside the town open and put more minefields over on what appeared to be the more open side perhaps, but you know, it was open side into dead ground. There was nothing too important there, and all guns could turn to face that way and still support town, if you see what I mean. Whereas leaving the channel beside the town open, the 88s, for instance, were going to find it very difficult to get involved, and covering fire couldn't go in both directions. Because the Germans had a very open deployment zone of their own, it was good for them getting line of sight on any approaching tanks. The town blocked off a lot of that. So to my mind, Mark was able to concentrate successfully on one side. There was a lot of fire went up and down that flank. You know, like you could say, well, if the Germans had all hit, then Mark wouldn't have been able to win, and so on and so on. But he was able to concentrate on that side, get some defilade, and then get the assault in from the Kangaroos. Whereas before in the first game, the Kangaroos had real problems getting through the terrain. So to me, that was the main difference between the two. But let us know your own thoughts in the comments. And one other sort of important point to mention maybe from the second game is Tom defended from those buildings like in the L shape on the buildings. When you do that, you tend to lose a lot of your defensive fire dice because you're facing two different directions. When you're in a town with infantry, it's very easy to get dispersed and become more vulnerable if your opponent can concentrate against you. And he also defended from in front of the objective, which is fine. He didn't want to let that town go, I think, didn't want those buildings occupied. But the Stoogs that were staying at the back, they had to move forward, because if you're leaving the infantry by themselves to defend the objective, then it's one wrong turn in an assault, for instance, and it can be game over. So in that kind of situation, you have to take the pain and get the Stoogs up to support them. But there you go, folks. That's just my thoughts. Let us know what your own are. And that is us for this week. Next week, we've got the Clash of the Titans, folks. And I say that most sincerely. It's myself against Jacob from Lack of Foresight Gaming. So you probably follow Lack of Foresight Gaming too. If not, check them out, give them a sub. Lots of Flames of War on there for us to enjoy. And we'll be playing another Berlin Soviet game, so stay tuned for that. So, thanks for watching, as always. Thanks to the subscribers. Thanks to those folks who just drop in from time to time to see what we're up to. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. It helps us to build the channel and help YouTube realise that Flames of War is a popular game and it should be pushing it out to as many people as it can. And if you hit the bell button, we'll definitely see you all on the next one.